Hey, I'm gonna give you a quick tutorial, not so quick, tutorial on how to use the spreadsheet, okay? Your version won't have the rescheduling, the new students, and the capacity, simply because you guys have your own system for setting up reschedules. So yeah, I use a Google Sheet for that. Anyway, here is kind of like a database of all of the students' regular schedules. Anything you see in pink is just kind of a one-time reschedule, right? So usually they're makeup classes or something like that. Otherwise, it's just their regular schedules. If the keyword pause is anywhere in this column of notes, the code reads through that and does not print that onto your weekly schedule, okay? So what is really nice is that, let's say if I deleted everything here, you can kind of see the range that it can output, if you will. For me, I don't open on Friday, Saturday, so I usually keep this hidden. I also don't open until 11:30 earliest, and then my latest time slot is 7:30. Okay? So usually, at least on my end, I like to keep yeah, everything hidden. So you guys can do that to your hours of operation, okay? Anyway, anytime you make a change on this sheet, so it's the students one, you can see on the bottom, say it's my face. What ends up happening is the code will automatically generate the schedule just based off of any changes you make, okay? So that means these visualizations of the weekly schedule is live, okay? So any changes you make will automatically be put through. I should actually hide these two. Okay, okay, cool. So how does this help you? What it can do for you is if you have a weekly schedule, what is really, really nice, this thing can do is that it can make a daily view as well. Okay, so there's some code on the top. Oh, I should, while we're at it, should mention that to run any of these scripts and to have it work in the beginning, you have to go scripts and then you maybe, oh, so this is a unique menu item. If you click on anything, it'll say authorize, okay, continue, whatever account, and then advanced, and then go to schedule gen, that's the name of the script, unsafe. Okay, code base is there if you want to read it, so yeah. Okay. So you'll have to do that before any of this can work, okay? And then now we can maybe take a look at some of these buttons, okay? This is, if you need to, for some reason, manually update these two like visualizations. It's kind of like it was like a feature back in the day. I don't really use it anymore. And then what's kind of nice is this thing's smart enough that if you click timetable, it'll generate the schedule for the day, okay? Today's Monday. Normally I would class, but it's BC day. So if I were to click timetable, it'll change the date to Monday. And this I usually put the initials of my instructors. So this is my instructor sheet. Things in orange is their time off. Blue is their schedule. And then I have a published like web view of this. So they can't actually edit it. They can just kind of see it like printed out, okay? Anyway. So, I'll just put, whatever the instructors' names are for the day. And you'll see what happens was that the schedule for the day has been made relative to what the students' regular schedules are. So essentially, you just kind of like strip this part and strip this part, put it all in one way, all in one page. So then this way you can kind of like ship this to the printer. And then this way your staff and yourself kind of know where your high capacity areas are, right? The reason why I don't, like you can kind of see this thing's smart enough to track, like based on how long the student stays, how many students are in a given time slot, right? So for example, like here, there's 2 students that are 90 minutes, right? So that means they're gonna stay for 3:30 to 4. They'll be here at 4 to 4:30, and they'll be here 4:30 to 5:30. So we're thinking of like 30-minute increments, right? So that means the way we count this cell is you would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then 14 and 15. So all of these guys should not be counted, okay? It's smart enough to understand 1 hour, 90 minutes, and 2 hours, okay? The reason why I don't have this like capacity number also printed in this is because day to day when I make this schedule, it's quite often that I have to make some changes, right? So my to-do list might tell me like, oh, today I don't have this student, or this student's moving in a different time, right? Stuff like that. Like these wacky changes, I just keep it separately on a to-do list, essentially. Because it's kind of annoying having to like do some tricky entries in here, right? It's just kind of like client service. Okay, and it's what I found to be the easiest. Anyway, so let's just, for example, like, you know, this kid are not coming today. Maybe this kid needs to move up to this slot, something like that. Whatever it is that you need to do to clean this thing up. And then afterwards, you can kind of like highlight everybody in 330. You can see there's a count of 10, so there's 10 students there. Wow, okay. And then you can go, oh, okay, there's a count of 13 students. Wow. And then so on and so forth. You can kind of go through the day. I still do this manually simply because like day to day, there tends to be too many changes. So I just recount it anyway. Yeah, so then this way, when you're kind of like planning out your day before your instructors come in, you kind of know where the highs and lows are. And then this way you can kind of assign tasks to instructors, make better use of labor. Okay, something that might be interesting is this thing, the order it prints out the students, you can change it if you want. So what I mean by that is, for example, if I filter by alphabetical names here, and then I, let's say, come back to this and run the script again, today being Monday, you'll see that everybody here is now in alphabetical order for each block of time, right? It's all in alphabetical order, okay? I personally don't prefer this. I like to sort by duration, okay? So then that means they should start with all the 1 hours and then the 90 minutes and then the 2 hours and then the 90 minutes, right? That's my preference, so if we did that. The reason I do this is because it's easier to do that like drag and count, right? Because I know the 90-minute students are going to like breach into 1 hour ahead. So then, yeah, I don't know, play around, whatever you like, whatever you fancy, okay? Something that stands out here is you can see how there's an automated note that's been generated. Let's say, who else is coming today? Let's say Adrian Chan, okay? So Adrian Chan, let's say if I put a note here, right? And let's say I run the script again, you'll see that Adrian now has an automated note that's been put in. And it's exactly what the same thing as a note in here is, okay? So this is kind of like, I do this a lot for like, oh, for example, now I'm free. Okay, it's like an assessment coming in and it'll automatically change the thing, right? Sorry, you'll have to run it again, but that's what the notes are. What else is nice? Oh, yes. If you are somebody that does this, where like, let's say you assign classrooms when you're teaching online to instructors. So let's say, for example, and then, I don't know your initials, but I should put SS. Okay, and then you can take the last two for the day. And you can kind of see that it's automatically changed over here. Okay, it's because these cells map to a formula. You can see there's kind of like a formula for it, and this formula is automatically generated by the code. Okay, so that means that we can just bring this over to the schedule or the Conic set, and then have the script automatically generated. Okay, there's quite a lot of like what is it called, specifics that you have to have for the script to work properly, because essentially it's pretty dumb. It's just clicking on certain regions programmatically. So it's not smart enough to understand like context awareness. It just clicks on things. Okay, just because I don't want to have to write Python code to look at web elements and blah, blah, blah. It's just kind of a pain, right? And Conic set during the initial phase, when it started out, kind of changed a lot, the UI wise. So I was just like, I don't want to rewrite this stuff all the time. I'd rather just change where to click, much easier, right? Anyway, let's just demonstrate that real quick and we'll come back to this. So these two cells never change, and I'll show you why in a sec. So let's bring it over here, see if I have my thing running. It's an auto hotkey script, so works on Windows. Okay. What is important? Okay, so Chrome, the zoom in is 67%, and I'm on a 2,560 by 1,440 monitor. Okay, But these can change. If you're using a 1080 monitor, I have a script that's mapped to those monitor dimensions as well. So unless you're using an ultra wide, it's probably not an issue. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just try to enunciate the hotkeys as I'm pressing them. Actually, let's see. I think I have something that like shows what I'm pressing. Maybe not. Okay, well, I'll just read it. I'll read it out. Okay? So Control I, you can paste the things in. So because this is the lobby room right now, I usually put the problem of the week here, and I've gone through the arduous task of turning everything into PDFs, right? So that means that this was last week's, and then every Sunday I just move it to a different page, make sure it's locked, okay? Saves you a lot of time. This way your kids still have problem of the week access, because they can just like leave the room, they get bounced into the lobby, and then they can re-enter the room that they were assigned, right? So if you want problem of the weeks for your online students, it's probably the easiest way I found. Control G opens up the breakout room manager, manage breakout rooms thing, and then I do like F6. I'll give you a list of all the hotkeys. And then F6 will take your clipboard. So what I did here was I copied this. So now it's on my clipboard. And then I hit F6 and it'll run the script to automatically build the rooms. And then I press open. And you can kind of see why I prefix the student rooms with our initials, because then they're kind of grouped for each student in chronological order, right? So then that means all my students are, you know, with me, all your students are with you. If you wanted something different. Yeah, actually, most days now I don't even do the assignments, because it's like usually one instructor can handle all of my onlines at once. So I just print it out like that, and then just let them figure it out, okay? But yeah, when it was really busy, I did this. Anyway, instructor gym, this is where I put the timetable for the day, right? So what I like to do is I just print this out as a PDF, and then I upload it here using this thing. Yeah, and this is kind of like the schedule for the last couple of days, okay? Yeah, this is just kind of a nice to have. Problem of the week, answers, oops. Leave it here so that it's kind of easier for the instructor to reference. Oh, big thing. There's the hotkey, if you use page up and page down, actually scrolls through the pages. Wow. I'm so surprised they never added this in. Okay, anyway, I think we're on this one. And then what I do is I go through each room and I just upload, each of the students' whiteboards first. Okay, so obviously I'm using a lot of scripts to do this quickly, but let's just run through. Again, all I'm doing is uploading the most recent one. I'm actually doing this manually, believe it or not. Okay, and then now all of the whiteboards are in, I like to go through and check. So like obviously that takes literally like 30 seconds to set up from like beginning to end for online. Obviously making the schedule will depend day to day based on, I don't know, how many changes you have to deal with, right? But this is the other time intensive part, which is like I check through and I kind of understand like, oh, was Apostoli ready for the pre? I'm just gonna double check what was his last deck. Was he really done that? And it looks like he was not done. Okay, great. So what that means is I'm gonna copy his room name. I'm gonna hit Control O, and that's gonna make a second room. I'm gonna type like 2, okay? And I'm gonna go in here, type in Apostoli, put temporary, okay? And the chance that he finishes this entire deck, the instructor can just kind of move him over to the second room, and then they can continue. So this way you don't have to be bothered having to change things, re-upload, or well, what is even crazier is like assign whiteboards to instructors. It's a complete waste of time, right? Okay, and then next is David. Let's see. Okay, brother David has a lot to do. Cheris is doing homework stuff. Okay, so that should be fine. She'll upload if she has more. And then, okay, she is fine. This is just because I'm context aware. I know the student is going to be very slow through this section, so it'll be okay for today. Our boy Jasper looks like, okay, sweet. This is not a completely new deck, so I don't have to upload the previous deck. I just need to check like, oh, okay, he has actually started it. So that I should be able to assume that the previous deck has been fully completed, right? So he's good. And then last one, writer. Oh, looks like he's okay too. I mean, this guy probably does like 6 pages on average per day, so there's plenty left. Okay, and then there you go. And it's all set up, and then it's good to go. Maybe one other thing is like you gotta find some sort of Chrome extension to refresh the classroom, so that this way you don't feel like you're always scrambling to keep the classroom open. I'm sure you've bumped into this issue where like the classroom has closed and then you have to like remake it. Well, at least now if that ever happens, you can remake the online classrooms pretty quick, right? But also I would highly recommend some sort of like automatic refresher or page opener, and then every hour just have it open up. Okay, this will save your butt a little bit without having to like manually, interact with this to keep the classroom open on the main hosting account. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, so what have we talked about? We've done scheduler. We've done the scripts to set up online GigaFast. Okay, so we'll get rid of that for now. What else is interesting? Oh, okay. Like, I don't know if you guys do this, but in the case of like, for some reason or another, you want to contact all of your in-center students or parents and go like, hey guys, we've got like summer camps or something, right? Well, you can just grab all their emails here, blind CC everybody. Yeah, so it's like really convenient. Or for example, if for some particular reason you guys need to reschedule for the Monday, for example, if you guys reschedule for holidays, right? You can just filter by in-center Monday. And then here's all my clients that would normally come on Mondays, right? And then I can send them an email going, hey, your class is affected by the statutory holiday, please reschedule. We don't reschedule for stats for our center, but if that's something you do, that'd be kind of cool, right? And then similarly, it's like, oh, who's affected on Mondays for online? Yeah, same thing, right? So yeah, it's kind of convenient, right? Because this way you can access your clients in a more property-based way, right? Like you can kind of narrow it in on maybe their class duration, whether they're online or in person, what days of the week they come on. Obviously, I've got some of these hidden because like we close Friday and Saturday, but if your hours are different, just open it up, hide what you need to hide. Okay. Yeah, a lot of fun. I don't know if I can't remember if I mentioned this, but like this keyword pause, just be very, very careful. Because if there is the word pause in any shape, form, or way in this column, it will put their schedule on pause. So for example, Adrian C, we can see that he's only on Mondays, right? If we say like unpause for example, right? The keyword pause is still a substring of this note. So you'll see that he's no longer there anymore. Like if I were to control F for him, he's gone. So just remember, it's pause in any way, okay? I think if you like had a space, then that should be okay, right? But if yeah, so he's back now, right? But like if you have that pause word, so be very careful, right? One would imagine like as natural human language, unpause makes a lot of sense, but unfortunately here, it's a machine reading it, okay? I think that sets you up for the basics. Yeah, because like all this other stuff here, rescheduling, new students, capacity, this has to do with my Google Forms that updates the, availability that people can reschedule to in real time based on form submissions, right? Yeah, this is kind of like me tracking my in and out students. This is me talking to the leads and how I track through my leads, my instructors, timetable, and this is like just like links and hotkeys and stuff like that I use often. I think that's about it. Okay, enjoy, have fun.